أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين وبه نستعين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين سيدنا ونبينا بالقاسم محمد وعلى عترة الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد وأجل فرج أما بعد السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. Welcome to the fifth of our series in Back to Basics, and today we're going to be looking at introducing the Salah and the prerequisites of Salah, inshallah. So let's get straight into it. When we look at Salah, there are those which are obligatory on us, which are wajib, and those that are recommended, which are mustahab. So the wajib salahs are 6 in all. The daily salah, which are the 5 daily salahs that we pray, Fajr, Zuhur, Asr, Maghrib, and Isha. And also Salatul Jummah is considered as an optional obligation, which means that I have the option to recite Salatul Jummah on a Friday afternoon, or I recite Salatul Zuhur. This is during the ghaibah of the Imam. Salatul Ayah is a salah which is recited when there has been an earthquake or in my vicinity, or an eclipse of some, full lunar eclipse or a solar eclipse. Salatul Mayat is a salah that is an obligation on all Muslims until at least one Muslim performs it, and that is the salah for a person who's passed away. The salah for after having done tawaf of the Holy Kaaba is a wajib salah. When a person passes away, a father passes away, then his qaza are wajib on the eldest son, and that, according to Ayatul Sistani, is an obligatory precaution. The salah, which is I make obligatory on myself by making a vow on myself. When we look at Mustahab Salah, there are lots and lots of Mustahab Salah, but I'm going to look at the Nawafil because there's a lot of benefit in Nawafil Salah. We're told that if there is some sort of problem with my wajib salah, then the nawafil will overtake that problem. And we don't have to recite all the nawafil. We can start with a few and then hopefully slowly increase. And if we don't recite it in time, then it's also recommended to recite its qaza. And a nawafil, any mustahab salah, is recited in units of 2. And there's a lot more leniency when we're reciting mustahab salah, so we can actually recite it while we're walking, driving, and so forth. So looking at the nawafil of Zuhur, this is 8 rakats in units of 2, obviously, after the azan of Zuhur, and Asr is 8 rakats before Asr, Maghrib is 4 rakats after Maghrib, Isha is 2 rakats sitting, which is equivalent to 1 rakat standing, and therefore, and is recommended to do it sitting. Fajr is 2 rakats before the azan of Fajr. Salatul Layl is 11 rakats in total. 8 of them are the Nawafil of Salatul Layl, 2 is Salatul Shafa, and 1 is Salatul Witr. The Salah of Gufayla is another Salah that is highly recommended, which Aga has mentioned in his Risala, and this is recited between Maghrib and Isha. Gufayla literally means a brief state of unmindfulness. This salah is a 2 rakat salah. In the first rakat after Surah Fatiha, we're told to recite the verses 87 and 88 of Surah Anbiya, which is Surah number 21, and in the second rakat after Surah Fatiha, verse 59 of Surah An'am, which is Surah number 6. When we recite Dhuhr and Asr, we need to make sure that we perform it in sequence. Obviously, all the salahs have to be performed in sequence. So I have Fajr, Dhuhr, Asr, Maghrib, and Isha. But with Dhuhr and Asr and Maghrib and Isha, it is more important because we can pray them together. It is better to separate all the salahs, but we can pray them together. So when we're praying it together, I need to make sure that I pray Dhuhr before Asr and Maghrib before Isha. If I intentionally pray Asr before Dhuhr or Isha before Maghrib, then all those salahs will be void, will be invalidated. If I have not prayed my Dhuhr and Asr until the time is finishing, and it's going to become qaza, so it's coming up to sunset and I've got very little time, and I won't have time to recite both the prayer in time, then I am told to recite Asr, because Asr becomes qaza after Dhuhr. So I need to recite my Asr and then pray my Dhuhr qaza. And it's the same with Maghrib and Isha, if it's coming to the qaza time for it. While praying Dhuhr, if I remember that I've already prayed the Dhuhr, then I actually cannot at that time change my niyyah to Asr. And this is because it's not permissible for me to change my niyyah from a mustahab salah to a wajib salah. Now, if I've already prayed my wajib Dhuhr, then the second Dhuhr that I'm praying is a mustahab Dhuhr. So I cannot change it to a wajib Asr. Whereas if I'm praying Asr, which is wajib on me, and I realize while I'm praying Asr that I have not prayed Zuhr, then I can change my niyyah from Asr to Zuhr because both of those salah are wajib on me. It is, as I said, it's not permissible to change our niyyah from mustahab to wajib, and it's also not permissible to change our niyyah from qaza to adha, so when it's out of time and when it's in time. Looking at the timings of the salah, Zuhr starts when the sun begins to decline after midday. And if I'm praying Zuhr and Asr together, then Asr will be prayed straight after I have done Zuhr and its taqibat. And if I'm praying them separately, then it is when the shadow of the thing is twice its height. Both Zuhr and Asr become qaza at sunset. With Maghrib, it starts after the sun has set and the redness in the eastern sky has passed. And again, if I'm praying Maghrib and Isha together, then the time taken for me to to pray my Maghrib and do my taqibat, and then I pray Isha straight away. If I'm praying them separately, then it's when there's enough darkness for stars to be seen in the night sky. Obviously, with the light pollution in London, we would not be able to see stars, but if there wasn't light pollution, there should be enough darkness in the sky that the stars should be seen. That would be the fazila time for Isha. Both Maghrib and Isha become qaza at true midnight, Isha after Maghrib. And true midnight is exactly midway between Maghrib and Fajr. So if I can give you an example here, say if Maghrib is 9 o'clock in the evening and Fajr is at 2 o'clock in the morning. Now there's 5 hours difference between the two. So I split 5 by half, which is 2.5, and then I add it on from Maghrib time. So that would make it 11:30. So true midnight would be 11:30, which is different to midnight, which would be 12 o'clock. So I need to make sure I pray my Maghrib and Isha by true midnight. But if I have a reason, then I can actually delay it till Fajr. So for example, if I am on my menstrual cycle and I haven't completed it yet, I have till Fajr to pray my Maghrib and Isha. If I am traveling and I don't want to pray, and I don't want to pray on an unsteady platform like a train or a plane, and I know I'm going to get to where I am going to get to before Fajr, then I can delay it and pray my Maghrib and Isha before Fajr, and it would still be accepted. If I have no reason to delay it and I allow the time to go, then if I pray it after true midnight, then I pray it without specifying whether I'm praying it on time or not. So I don't say in my niyyah whether it's adha or qada. With Fajr, if the time for Fajr is second dawn, now usually just before dawn, a column of whiteness rises upwards from the east, and that's called the first dawn. And when this whiteness spreads, that's the second dawn, and that is the time for Fajr. And Fajr time, it goes on till sunrise. Now, looking at covering in Salah, for a woman, it is wajib for her to cover her entire body, including her head and hair, and it is better to cover the soles of the feet. In Salah, we do not have to cover the upper part of the feet, but for hijab purposes, we do. So if we're praying somewhere where there are na-mahram men, then we need to make sure that our feet are fully covered. But if there are no na-mahram men, then it is not essential that I cover the upper part of my foot. In fact, it's not essential that I cover my feet at all, but it is better for me to cover my soles of my feet. And how I can do that is through a long chadar. As I go into a sajda, then the soles of my feet will be covered. And obviously, when I'm standing, the soles of my feet are covered by the carpet. For men, it is wajib to cover the private parts and better to cover from navel to knees. When we're looking at the clothes of which we can wear in Salah, we need to make sure that they are tahir, so that there is no najasat on it. And if there is najasat of, for example, blood, it should not, the entire amount should not be more than the top of part of my thumb. The first part of my thumb. I should have permission to wear the clothes that I'm wearing if they're not mine. They should not be made of a najis animal of any sort, and for men, they should not be made of silk or gold. So looking at Qibla, if I cannot ascertain Qibla, there's no way of me finding out which way is Qibla, there's no one I can ask, and there's no way of me knowing which way is Qibla, then it's sufficient that I pray in any direction. But it is better if I have time to pray in all 4 directions. And when I'm praying in all 4 directions, I need to make sure I keep the sequence. So if I'm praying Zuhr and Asr, I need to pray first Zuhr in all 4 directions and then Asr in all 4 directions. If I'm not sure of one of 2 directions for Qibla, then I'm told that I have to pray in both of those directions. And again, I have to maintain the sequence of the Salah. Finally, the place of Salah. I need to make sure that I have permission to pray where I'm praying. I need to make sure that the movement in that place is not so vigorous that I'm not able to stand still while I'm reciting, while I'm standing and in my ruku and my sajda. Obviously, if I'm in a position where I do not have a choice, so for example, if I'm on a plane or if I'm on a train where there is movement, but if I wait till we land, or till I reach, then my namaz will become qaza, my salah will become qaza, then I need to just pray it then and there, it's fine. The possibility of completing my prayer in that place is important, so I shouldn't pray it in such a busy place where I may have to move before I've completed my salah. I shouldn't pray it in a place where the ceiling is so low that I'm not able to stand up straight, or where I'm not the place is so small that I can't perform my ruku or sajda correctly. I need to make sure that where I'm praying is not najis, and if it is najis, then it's not so wet that it actually the najasat passes onto my clothes or my body. Because remember, najasat passes through wetness. And if it's dry, then I can pray in that place, as long as the place where I am doing my sajda, where I'm going to put my forehead down, is not najis. Even if it is dry, it mustn't be najis. That area must be totally tahir. If a woman and a man are praying together, then the woman must stand behind the man in a way that where she does her sajda, where her head comes down, should be no further forward than where his thighs are when he is in sajda. And this does not matter even if he is mahram to her. So if I'm praying with my husband or with my son or with my brother, I still have to pray slightly behind them, and that is obligatory precaution according to Aga. It is important that the place where and here, unless there's some sort of a barrier, so if there's some sort of wall or curtain in between the man and woman, then it doesn't matter that if they stand in line, or if they're 4.5 meters apart from each other. The place of sajda should not be higher or lower, where my forehead goes in sajda should not be higher or lower than the 4 fingers put together to where my toes are. So I need to make sure that I'm not on such an incline that where I place my head is either 4 fingers, more than 4 fingers higher, or less, or more than 4 fingers lower than where my toes are, or even the sajda guard, the mohor is not so big that it actually makes the area where my forehead goes and my toes go more than 4 fingers. Obviously, if I'm not able to bend to all the way down, and I place my mohor or my sajda gar at a higher level because I'm not able to bend, then that's a different matter, because there's a reason for me to doing that. Obviously, there's a lot of information given in this talk, so please, revisit it and listen to it again. I hope that this has made it a little bit simpler to understand the prerequisites of Salah. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.